We've got Yaroslav, is it Nissenchuk or?
Nissenchuk.
Nissenchuk, thank you. Okay, Mr. Nissenchuk is here.
Thank you, Your Honor. I've had a conversation with Mr. Nissenchuk this morning. There is a deferred judgment in the file that I've gone over with him, but I think he did express an interest in hearing his options again from you, Your Honor.
I'm happy to do that. Okay, Mr. Nissenchuk, let me tell you a little bit about the deferred judgment that Ms. Keller has probably already talked to you about, but I'll tell you what your options are. If you plead guilty to the charges that are pending, you would be placed on a deferred judgment for a 9-month term. One of the charges would be dismissed. The abandoning animals charge would be dismissed today. You'd be pleading guilty to improperly caring for an animal. You would have to go through that 9-month period without any other criminal charges that resulted in conviction. You'd also be expected to complete a responsible pet ownership class and 8 hours of community service. There'd be a total of $190 in fees that you'd pay the court for the deferred judgment. If you satisfied all of the conditions at the end of the 9-month term, your charges, the charge that you pled guilty to would be dismissed. We would withdraw the guilty plea, dismiss the charge, and then we would seal your record for both charges. So ultimately, there wouldn't be a record of this that the public could access. Law enforcement can always access sealed records, just so you know, but that you would earn a dismissal of the charges. That's one path you could go down. You could also continue the case if you wanted to consult with a lawyer or think about this for a bit. You could come back and accept it another date. And if you decided you wanted to plead not guilty at that point, you could set the case for trial. If you know you don't want to accept it, and you want to plead not guilty today and set for trial, you could do that. So those are basically the options that are available to you.
Okay, I'll take the option then.
You want to plead guilty and accept the option from the prosecutor?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means you'd be giving up your right to trial on that charge and all the other rights associated with that charge. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Are you doing that voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is anybody forcing you to plead guilty?
No.
Are you under the influence of any medications or drugs or alcohol?
No.
Do you understand this charge of improperly caring for an animal?
Yes.
Do you agree that there is evidence to support that charge?
Yes.
You're doing this without the benefit of a lawyer to represent you. If you wanted, we could continue the case over so you could hire counsel, or if you wanted to apply for the public defender, you could do that. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Are you comfortable moving forward without the benefit of a lawyer?
Yes.
And do you understand that a lawyer might do a better job of representing you than you do representing yourself?
Yes.
Did you graduate high school or get a GED?
I did.
All right, so you understand the rights that you're giving up today. I am going to find it's a free and voluntary decision to plead guilty to the charge of improperly caring for an animal. That's a violation of section 618 of the Boulder Revised Code occurring August 27th of 2025 at 900 Baseline Road. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
Accept that guilty plea. The other charge of abandoning an animal is being dismissed today. You'll be placed on a deferred judgment for the 9-month term to that count 1. And then you'll have 8 hours of community service to complete. You'll have the responsible pet ownership class to complete as well. There are a total of $190 in fees and costs associated with this deferred judgment. Are you able to pay those today?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any questions for me?
I do not.
All right. The next step of our process is to send you to meet with our probation officer. She's going to briefly go over all this with you, get your signature on the deferred judgment agreement. She's going to give you a deadline for completing the pet ownership class and for the community service. And then she'll work out getting the payment from you to pay the fees and costs. At the end of the 9-month term, she's going to be the person that dismisses the case and seals your record for you. So if anything were to come up during the term, if she found out, oh, there's another charge that you were found guilty of, she would file a motion with the court. But ultimately, if nothing happens other than you complying, she's going to dismiss your case, seal your record, and then you'll be done with that court case. And if you have questions that come up along the way, she'll be your contact, and that's Fernandez. So Maria, are you going to be able to walk him back?
I'll go with him in a minute.
Okay.
Just have a seat.
All right, if you'll just have a seat, Mr. Nissenchuk, we'll get you back there to meet with Fernando.
Thank you.
Here, have a good day.
Yes.
Is it Ronald?
Ronald. Yes. And Mr. Bonner, there's 2 separate charges for you. One is a charge of improperly caring for an animal, and then there's a charge of failing to comply with the ordinance regarding disposition of dead animals, which is a violation of section 6123 of the Boulder Revised Code. Those both allegedly occurred on July 31st of 2025 at 3325 28th Street. So those are the two charges. You've been in the courtroom for a little bit of time, so you've probably heard the options that are available, but I'll just restate them for you. One option would be to speak with the prosecutor, see if you can work out a resolution of your case. A second option would be to continue the case over so that you could think about your options. You could also contact private counsel, or if you'd like to apply for the public defender, you could apply for the public defender today. You could also plead guilty to the charges or plead not guilty and simply set for trial.
I'd like to talk to the prosecutor.
Right. Now, if you'll put your name on that list right there.
This one here?
Yes, right at the bottom of the list there. The prosecutors are working through all the cases and they'll get with you to go over them with you in just a little bit.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bonner.
Right, Your Honor, I've had a conversation with Mr. Bear. I don't think our conversation was particularly productive, but I do think the best way to proceed in this case is to get discovery and have a more substantive conversation after that date. I've already pinged our paralegal to get him that discovery. So I'm thinking maybe 2 to 3 weeks and he can come back via Zoom if he wishes.
Okay, that sounds like a good step. Let me just check with Mr. Bear and see, is that what you'd like to do, Mr. Bear, is come back on another date?
I mean, again, I'd ask that the court dismiss the case because.
I've already said I'm not dismissing it based on your oral representation, so you're being respectful, but you can't keep repeating yourself and have a different outcome.
Yeah, no worries.
So-
Would I be able to file a written motion to?
You do have a right to file a written motion to dismiss, yeah, and then the prosecutors will have an opportunity to respond and I'll rule on it. So those are all legitimate. I just can't do it on the record in an oral fashion.
Sure, thank you.
All right.
And how long was the continuance for again?
I'm 2 to 3 weeks. If that's enough time for you.
That works for me.
Okay, so and I'm gonna put a note here, Zoom, okay? I don't have a problem with people appearing by virtually for their next court dates. A trial would probably be a little bit different because in a criminal case, I have to have the defendant in person for a trial, but we may not get to that place depending on how things proceed from here. But if you want to appear virtually, just make sure they have a good email address so they can send you the link.
Okay.
And if you want to come in person, that's fine too.
Yeah, I'll probably do that.
Okay, so I'll just send you right out front, Mr. Bear. They'll get you that new court date.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Dara.
Your Honor, we could call Ms. Rogel, please.
All right, Ms. Rogel, if you'll come forward again.
Hello again.
Hello, Ms. Rogel. Go ahead, Dara.
Your Honor, Ms. Rogel has a trespassing charge that is eligible for the community court program, and we ordered her birth certificate today.
Okay, terrific. So, Ms. Rogel, that means you've earned a dismissal of the charge, so you don't have to appear any further. You're done with the case. If you want to give us your email address, we can email you a copy of the order dismissing. If you don't have an email that you can share with us, if you decide you need a copy of the order dismissing the case, you can always come back to the court and just tell them your name and they can give you a copy. That make sense?
Yep.
All right. So you are free to go.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for appearing, Ms. Rogel.
Have a good day.
You do the same. And I'm not seeing anybody else. I would like to get these young guys on their way. Let me just see if the deferred judgments are in the file. Maria, would you mind stepping out and just seeing if Mr. Altenberg's okay with me proceeding on these cases that are back from CURJ without him coming back into the courtroom? They've been in here for a bit, and I want to see if I can get their cases resolved and see who I have. Why don't you all give me your names again? We'll start with the folks who have been out to speak with the CURJ.
My name is James Bernardo.
Okay. What's your name, sir?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, Your Honor. Samuel Datz.
All right, Mr. Datz, Mr. Baranoff. And the other gentleman, is he just here in support or
Oh, my name's Asher Ballon, I'm sorry.
the last name?
Ballon, Ballon.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ballon.
Bernardo has an offer.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking. If we have offers, I might just go ahead and accept them and start moving forward. Okay, so let's call Mr. Ballon first. Mr. Ballon, why don't you come on forward? Let's see if I've got the offer in the file for Mr. Ballon. I do. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward with that. Ordinarily, Mr. Altenberg likes to be in the courtroom for the deferred judgment. But because you all have been waiting, I'm going to go ahead and move forward with it. He isn't legally required because he did put the offer in the file. But let me make sure you understand what it is, and then you have the option of accepting it or not. And you've probably discussed this with him and with Connor from CURJ. But the charge that you have is possessing and consuming alcohol by someone under the age of 21 and a charge of fraudulent identification. If you were to plead guilty to those two charges, you'd be placed on a deferred judgment for 9 months. In that 9-month period, you'd be expected to go through that period without any other criminal charges that result in conviction, alcohol-related criminal charges. And if you did that, at the end of the 9-month period, the case could be dismissed, provided that you complete the CU Restorative Justice Program, the CU Community Living class, and the substance use screened by probation and follow through with whatever class is recommended for that. So those would be the obligations. If you accept the deferred judgment, there'll be $155 in fees that you'd be required to pay. So that's one way to resolve the case. If you want to accept that, we'll go forward. If you decided, no, I want to plead not guilty and set for trial, we could get you a trial date. If you need some time to think about it, you could think about it further.
I'll accept it.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and then accept the guilty plea to those two charges. You've heard me with others. I have to go through some questions for you. When you plead guilty, you're giving up your right to trial on those two charges. Are you doing that voluntarily?
Yes.
Is anybody forcing you to plead guilty? Are you under the influence of any medications or drugs or alcohol?
No.
And do you understand these two charges? I'll start with having a fraudulent identification. Do you understand that charge? Do you agree there's evidence to support that charge?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge of possession of alcohol by someone under the age of 21?
Yes.
Do you agree there's evidence to support that charge? You're doing this without the benefit of a lawyer to assist you. If you would like, I could continue the case over so you could hire counsel. You could go through CU Legal Services to see if you could find counsel at a reduced rate, or you could apply for the public defender. Are you aware of all those options? Are you comfortable going forward without a lawyer? Do you understand that a lawyer might do a better job of representing you than you do representing yourself? All right, I am going to find that it's a free and voluntary decision to plead guilty to these two charges. We'll start with count one, which is a charge of having a fraudulent identification, which is a violation of section 5612 of the Boulder Revised Code. This allegedly occurred September 6th of 2025 at 2590 Kittredge Loop Drive. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
I'll accept the guilty plea. Count two is a charge of possessing alcohol and being under the age of 21 on that same date, time, and location. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
Accept the two guilty pleas. The good news is we place you on the deferred judgment, so you do have the opportunity to earn a dismissal. You will be required to complete the CU Restorative Justice Program. I believe it was the community living class, and then you'll meet with our probation officer so she can determine the level of alcohol class for you to complete. There are $155 in fees and costs that you'll be required to pay. Are you able to pay that $155 today?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about all of this?
No.
All right. If you'll just hang out a minute, we're going to send all three of you back to meet with our probation officer in a moment, so we'll call the next case and move you forward.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll call Mr. Bernardo next. Mr. Bernardo, if you'll come forward. I'm going to pull up your file, Mr. Bernardo, so I can go over the agreement that's been put in the file for you. And you also have a deferred judgment for 9 months. It's for the charge of making unreasonable noise. That would be the charge that you'd be pleading guilty to. You'd be required to complete the CU Restorative Justice Program, the CU Community Living class, and 5 hours of community service. The fees that you would pay our court are $165, but the community service is going to be supervised on campus by Slice. They will charge you a $25 fee when you sign up for the community service with them. So just want you to be aware of that fee. Is that how you'd like to proceed?
Yes, I accept.
All right. When you plead guilty to this charge, you're giving up your right to trial. Are you doing that voluntarily?
Yes.
Is anybody forcing you to plead guilty?
No.
Are you under the influence of any medications or drugs or alcohol?
No.
Do you understand the charge of unreasonable noise?
Yes.
Do you agree that there's evidence to support that charge?
Yes.
You're doing this all without the benefit of a lawyer. Are you comfortable going forward without a lawyer?
Yes.
Do you understand that a lawyer might do a better job of representing you than you do representing yourself?
Yes.
All right, I am going to find that it's a free and voluntary decision to plead guilty. The charge is making unreasonable noise in violation of section 595 of the Boulder Revised Code. That allegedly occurred September 12th of 2025 at 928 10th Street. And I'm sorry, that was 596 of the Boulder Revised Code at 928 10th Street. How do you plead to that charge?
I plead guilty.
We'll accept that guilty plea. We'll place you on the deferred judgment. You'll have $165 in fees to pay to us. You'll have the C Restorative Justice Program, the community living class, and then our probation officer will determine the level of, oops, you won't have an alcohol class. I was wrong about that. You'll have 5 hours of community service. Misspoke. And the reason your fee is 165 and the other gentleman is 155 is because of the community service. We charge you a $10 fee to manage what we have to manage of that community service. All right. Any questions for me?
I don't think so, Your Honor.
All right. So if you'll just hang on a few moments, we'll send you back to meet with probation here shortly. And then Mr. Datz, if you'll come forward. Samuel Datz will be next. And Mr. Datz, you have a deferred judgment offer in your file.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to take that.
You'd like to accept that? Okay, that's, all
I would, Your Honor.
right. Do you have any questions before I make it a court order?
Not really. I'd like to apologize for my behavior and wasting your time.
Okay, well, I appreciate you saying that. It's not a waste of time, but it would be preferable that you didn't have the violation. So I see you're acknowledging responsibility for the impact you're causing, and I appreciate that. So there are two charges. If there's a charge of possession of alcohol by someone under the age of 21 and having a fraudulent identification. When you plead guilty, you're giving up your right to trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Are you doing that voluntarily?
Yes, I do.
Is anybody forcing you to plead guilty?
No, no one is forcing me.
Are you under the influence of any medications or drugs or alcohol?
No, I'm not.
And do you understand these charges? We'll start with consumption of or possession of alcohol by someone under the age of 21. Do
Yes, I understand.
you agree there's evidence to support that charge?
I would agree.
All right. Do you understand the charge of having a fraudulent identification?
Yes,
Do you agree there's evidence to support that charge?
they had my fake ID.
Okay, so you agree that there was,
Yes.
okay. You're doing all this without the benefit of a lawyer. Are you comfortable going forward without a lawyer?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Do you understand a lawyer might do a better job of representing you than you do representing yourself?
Yes, I do.
And I'm going to find it's a free and voluntary decision to plead guilty. Count one is a charge of possessing or consuming alcohol by someone under the age of 21, which is a violation of section 574 of the Boulder Revised Code. That allegedly occurred on September 6th of 2025 at 3300 Baseline Road. How do you plead to that charge?
I plead guilty.
I'll accept the guilty plea. Count two is a charge of having a fraudulent identification in violation of section 5612 of the Boulder Revised Code from that same date, time, and location. How do you plead to that
I
charge?
plead guilty.
I'll accept the guilty pleas to both charges. We'll place you on the deferred judgment, and in this case for a 9-month term. You'll have the CU Community Living class to complete. You'll have the CU Restorative Justice Program to complete, and then you'll have a substance use screen with our probation officer. She'll determine the class for you to complete. The good news is that if you satisfy all of these conditions at the end of the 9-month term, your case can be dismissed and your record would be sealed. There are $155 in fees and costs for you to pay. Are you able to pay those today?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
All right. So the next step for all three of you gentlemen is I'm going to send you back to probation. Maria will walk you back there here in just a few moments. One thing that I like to tell groups when I'm talking about fraudulent identification charges and these other charges as well, for young people who come through our court, our prosecutors are pretty reasonable in the offers that they make. They don't want you leaving here with a criminal record. And so they make offers that allow you to avoid a criminal record. Don't take that lenience on this, the way that they've approached this today as a sense of, oh, they're never going to do much to me. A second offense will have a much different application from the prosecutor's perspective and a much different response from the court's perspective. So you have to be smart about what you're doing. So I point that out. And the other thing I want to share with you is one of my goals when I deal with young people is have you think about where alcohol or use of substances can lead. You're young, perhaps you're experimenting because it's your first time away from home, you're doing the party thing. It's pretty normal adult changing behavior that I see people in there between 18 and 21 participate in. I did the same. But what I worry about is that it's not just something that you can take or leave, but it becomes a problem, becomes something that you can't get away from. You become addicted to alcohol or drugs. And then you leave the university with an addiction issue and perhaps a diploma, or you don't even get the diploma. So you have to be thinking about the behavior that you take on and make sure you're making good decisions. I'm not saying any of you fall in that category, but if you are having issues with respect to use of substances and it's greater than just a little bit of partying, then you need to get some help with and have your parents help with that so that you don't end up with a problem. And then the last thing about fraudulent identification. If you think about what you're doing to earn a degree, if you leave here with a diploma and also a criminal record for fraudulent identification, which you won't have if you earn a dismissal, but if you end up with a conviction on your record for having a fraudulent identification, you may have to try to explain that to people who are going to employ you or are going to admit you to grad schools, give you access to digital databases. They're not going to want to do that. And if they've got 10 applications and one of them has a fraudulent identification conviction on that person's record, that application gets put to the side. So don't make life harder for yourself than you need to. Those are the things I just want to share with you to be thinking about so that you make good decisions while you're here in Boulder, okay?
Thank you for the advice.
You're welcome. Down to probation. Marie's going to walk you down in a few moments after she gets the information put into the system, and then she'll walk you down to meet with probation. All right, thank you. Yes, Dara.
Your Honor, I have two people to call.
Okay.
The first one, if we could call Mr. Talbot.
All right, Mr. Talbot, if you'll come back forward.
After speaking with Mr. Talbot, it's my understanding that he would like to continue for next week just to think over his options.
All right, that's perfectly fine. Is that what you'd like to do, Mr. Talbot? Yes, sir. So we can continue to next week. I had this conversation with another gentleman a few minutes ago, Mr. Pennington. I don't know if you were in the courtroom, but if you want public defender representation, we would continue you over for our next public defender docket, which is October 14th.
I do have a question for you too.
Sure.
Honestly, it's not even really too much of making a decision. The right decision doesn't really matter here. The point is, for me, I haven't been here in 5 years.
Okay.
So a lot of stuff has changed since I've been gone. A lot of things that I haven't voted on have changed since I've been gone. I'm from here, born in Boulder, right? Not Boulder Community Hospital. It's, being turned into so-called some kind of housing, I guess for less fortunate, something like that.
You were born when BCH was over on 9th Street?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And there's just a lot of stuff that has changed, and I haven't been able to go through to really see how you guys have changed. I've worked on both sides of the worked for Boulder Outreach for Homeless Overflow. That was BOHO.
Uh-huh.
Second one was Bridge House, also still going right now, community table, all of that. So I've kind of seen a little bit of the ins and outs, seen some of the lawyers and other people that did come in to the spaces that we were, I guess, having our program. I just don't see enough, just the clarity of any of the wording is offset, not quite clear for most people I see, and I would like to find some clarity or find someone that can give that clarity. May not be a lawyer, but I can definitely read.
Well, so that's the question. Would you like, when you come back, do you want to have the public defender represent you or not?
That's the problem. I don't know.
You don't know yet. Okay. I'm going to.
It's taking a week, so.
What's that?
I guess my question is, who can I talk to other than just a small group of people that are, I guess, of whatever program this is?
So our community court program, we have the navigators who are hired by the court and help people. They work with a number of partners. Have you been over to Penfield Tate on a Thursday morning?
No.
Might be worthwhile to go over there. You don't have to interact with the court if you choose not to, but on Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, we have some of our community partners who are nonprofits come over there Deacon's Closet, if you remember those folks who provided clothing over the years, they're there to hand out clothing. So some of the partners are engaged in the faith community, helping people get clothing and other necessities that they might need. And then some of the partners are engaged with the social services aspect of helping people get greater stability. They work with some of the folks who are our clients, and they work with others who are not our clients here at the court. So it might be worthwhile for you to go there and just see the operation that takes place. And then you can see some of the folks that you may have seen in the past. Focus reentry, some of the people who are doing this kind of work. Boho is no longer, I think, an actual entity.
Those things I'm talking about, contact about, city council decision on this. I mean, because I'm sure it's not just public vote or even court.
So I was going to say the other thing is of course the city council are the ones who create the ordinances, and the city attorney's office, who these folks both work for the city attorney's office, help them in deciding what ordinances should be in place, and then the police department takes steps to enforce ordinances that are put into place. So those are the entities that bring the work to the court. When someone gets a summons, it comes from the police department, from the legislative branch creating an ordinance. So that's why it comes here. I don't want to get too far afield because I want to move on to other people who are waiting to talk to me. But if you want to come back next week and make a decision from there, if you want to come back in 3 weeks when we have the public defender, I could reschedule you for 3 weeks from now.
Let's go and we'll see where this goes. Next week, we'll see it.
All right, don't leave yet because we've got to give you the court date. So we'll reset for next Tuesday. That'll be September 30th at 8:30. And if you'll just go right out front, they'll get you that new court date. No plea will enter today, and then we'll see you then. All right, thank you, Mr. Talbot. Just to the right for that court date. All right, and Dara had one more that we'll call, and then we'll get to you, Ms. Go ahead, Dara.
Yes, if we may call Mr. King, please.
Yes, Mr. King, if you'll come back forward.
And it is my understanding that Mr. King would like to plead not guilty and set the case for trial.
Okay, so there were 3 charges that were pending, Mr. King. Let me pull it up, and we'll take the not guilty pleas. Before I take those not guilty pleas, let's talk about whether you're going to represent yourself or whether you want the public defender to assist you.
Would probably like to have public defender help.
Okay, and that's fine. You qualify for the public defender. Ms. Talene is here. Ms. Talene, do you want to have a conversation with him today, or do you want to just reset it for the October 14th date?
Either way.
Do you want to talk to her right now, just so that you can familiarize yourself with the circumstances, or do you have to get out to your belongings?
Work this afternoon, so.
Then you can just, reset him if you want.
You mentioned that you had a job the last time, I think at community court, you mentioned that you.
I got a promotion.
Did you really?
Actually, yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that for you. Okay, good. We're just going to reset you, but I'm going to reset you for the public defender day because you do qualify. So we'll reset. And we'll reset for October 14th. So that's a little bit of a way out. I'm not going to take a not guilty plea yet. You can talk to Ms. Talene, and then if you decide to plead not guilty at that point, that way she'll be here. And she can be the one that actually schedules it on her calendar for the trial if you decide to go to trial and all of that. So we'll schedule you for 9:30 in the morning on October 14th.
Okay, I appreciate that.
And again, Nick, we'll want to make sure Greg knows so that we get this sent over to Ms. Talene's email. All right. Is this the only case that we had for Mr. King? I want to just make sure that we didn't miss it.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to send you out front. They're going to give you a setting notice for the October 14th date. If you get another ticket in the interim and it has an earlier court date, make sure you come to that court date. We can reset them all for the 14th, but I don't want you to end up with a warrant for one case that you didn't show up for. So anytime you get a summons, if it has a court date on it, if it's before your next court date that you have with a public defender, come and see us. Does that make sense? All right, but for now, we'll get you on your way. We'll get you your new court date and we'll see you on the 14th. Just to the right, they'll get you that date.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. All right, Ms. Keller, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can you recall Mr. Esslinger, please?
All right, Mr. Esslinger, if you'll come forward.
Thank you, Your Honor. I've had a conversation with Mr. Esslinger this morning. There is a deferred prosecution in the file. There are no affirmative conditions other than he get no new similar smoking charges for the next 3 months. Mr. Esslinger shared with me that he works for Focus Reentry, which is, I made sure to express our appreciation
Right.
for the work that they do, but we are moving to waive all fees and fines on this deferred prosecution.
All right, I'm happy to accommodate that. So is this how you'd like to proceed here, Mr. Esslinger?
Yes.
All right, so I won't be accepting any plea today. We're just going to place you on the deferred prosecution for the 3-month term. I'm going to waive the deferred prosecution fee. There are no affirmative responsibilities for you except to not get any other charges, any other similar criminal charges during the 3-month period. At the end of that period, we're going to automatically dismiss the case and seal your record. Do you have any questions for me?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so I do have to send you down briefly to meet with probation. You're not on probation, but they get your signature on the document, make sure that you understand how this process works, and then they'll get you on your way. It'll probably be a very short conversation with Fernanda. All right.
Thank you, Ron.
And do you know the way down there? You're going to make 2 rights. And maybe Maria, people can get confused going back there, so if you don't mind.
Have a seat and I'll take you in a minute.
We're thinking about putting some tape on the road to get people how to get back there,
It
but.
reminds me of other places.
So if you'll just have a quick seat, she'll get you walked back there in just a few moments. Yeah, we don't want to remind people of the tape. I've been in those other places myself. Mr. Altenberg.
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to call Mr. Thor Eric Lunsford, who's a family person, who's also a representative of the Alpha Delta Phi fraternity, please, Your Honor.
Okay. Yes, I have it. Tor Lundstedt?
Yep.
All right, Mr. Lundstedt, and then has a personal charge and then an individual charge and then the Alpha Delta, is it Phi or Alpha Delta Phi? I never know how to say that. Phi, okay, thank you. All right.
Yes, sir. I had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Lundstedt and the rest of the executive board available today for the Alpha Delta Phi fraternity about the Restorative Justice program and the other aspects required of the sentencing recommendation and file for the fraternity. It's my understanding that the fraternity would like to accept the offer of the sentencing recommendation and file and plead guilty to the alleged violation in question. Or they'd like to plead guilty, and we recommend that the court adhere to the sentencing recommendation and file. In addition, Your Honor, Mr. Lundstedt's case is directly tied to the fraternity as the representative of the named individual. So you have a conditional motion to dismiss in Mr. Lundstedt's file, with the condition being that the fraternity is accepting the guilty plea and the sentencing recommendation file.
Okay, and I'm very familiar with that process, so thank you for sharing that on the record with us, Mr. Altenberg. So for you, Mr. Lundstedt, that means that on behalf of Alpha Delta Phi, you would be pleading guilty to the charge of making unreasonable noise. And that's a direct guilty plea. It's not a deferred judgment or anything of that nature. It should be a direct guilty plea by the organization. As part of the sentence, I would be imposing a $2,650 fine and suspending $1,650 of that fine. So the net fine will be $1,000. There'll be a probation fee and I believe a community service fee if we have community service here.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so there'd be a community service fee. So there'll be some fees associated with that. You'd also have to complete 75 hours of community service. The fraternity would have to do that. And then we'd want the executive board to complete the CU Restorative Justice program and the CU Community Living class. So that's what you would be agreeing to on behalf of the organization. Is that what you'd like to do?
Yes.
Do you have any questions before we go forward?
No, I think answered all the questions.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. When you plead guilty to this charge on behalf of the entity is giving up its right to trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Are you doing that voluntarily?
Yes.
Is anybody forcing the entity to plead guilty today?
No.
Are you under the influence of any medications or drugs or alcohol?
No.
And do you understand this charge of making unreasonable noise?
Yes.
You agree there's evidence to support that charge?
Yes.
You are doing this without the benefit of a lawyer. You could hire the lawyer, the entity could hire a lawyer. You could apply for the public defender, although with an entity, it would be odd for me to appoint a public defender because there's no possibility of an actual jail sentence for the entity. But you could at least secure counsel. I can't put Alpha Delta Phi in jail. I can't, but I can certainly impose fines and things of that nature. And if someone who is responsible, which is you, failed to comply with conditions, you could be held in contempt. But it's never come to that. But I want to make sure you understand those are all possibilities. Does that make sense to you? All right. And so when you plead guilty, you're giving up all those rights that I've described. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And you're doing that voluntarily?
Yes.
Is anybody forcing you to plead guilty?
No.
Are you under the influence of any medications or drugs or alcohol?
No.
And you said you do understand the charge of unreasonable noise?
Yes.
And you agree there's evidence to support that charge?
Yes.
Are you comfortable proceeding without the benefit of counsel?
Yes.
And do you understand that a lawyer might do a better job of representing you or the entity than you might do for yourself?
Yes.
I am going to find that it's a free and voluntary decision to plead guilty on behalf of Alpha Delta Phi. The charge is making unreasonable noise in violation of section 596 of the Boulder Revised Code. And Nick, could you pull up the summons because I'm struggling to get my cursor in the right spot. This allegedly occurred on September 12th of 2025 at 1069 12th Street. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
I'll accept that guilty plea. The other case will be dismissed. The conditional motion to dismiss, which is in the file, I'm actually going to sign an order later that'll be emailed to you. So if you make sure we have your email address, we'll want to make sure we put it in both the corporate file and the individual file. Once I sign an order dismissing the charge for you individually, you'll get a copy of that. And any case that's dismissed, we seal the record associated with it. So I want you to understand that before you leave here today. Accepted the guilty plea. The fine in this case, I'm going to impose, but I wanted to give you a chance to say anything you want me to hear before I do impose the fine. And it looks like one of your members of the board has something they might want to say as well.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. What's your name, sir?
Tony Caruso.
All right, Mr. Caruso.
Organization.
All right, go ahead.
Talk to you today. There are a couple issues that we had. Obviously, as a fraternity, we work with the school and the police department to try and organize, safe parties for students.
Are you registered on the party program?
Yes.
Okay.
So we, our governing organization, IFC on the Hill, had made some alterations for the party registration program, which we in the past have had no issues with. After kind of switching to one system and then switching back, is when we got this ticket that particular week. I think it was a combination of a little confusion on our part and with the police department. I spoke with our liaison officer, who's directly appointed to us. And we have had no issues in the past with the police. We've had no issues with noise complaints. We have friendly relations with all of our neighbors. And so, especially in this first violation case pertaining to the fine, we were talking to the prosecutor about how that fine is not necessarily up for negotiation. But again, given that we have a pretty good record with the police department, keeping our party safe, being accountable towards the community that we live in, we would ask that fine be lowered as much as possible.
And I know there's two separate governing bodies. One's affiliated with the university and one is not affiliated with the university. So which one are you with now?
We are not with the university.
Okay. So at some point, were you affiliated with the university?
No, but we do go through the university for our party registration system.
Okay. So you register with CUPD and with Boulder PD?
Yep. Yes, we did.
Okay. That's the thing that and it doesn't matter to me whether there's affiliation or not, but the key for me is that the fraternities get the information that they need in order to be good neighbors and to get themselves in a situation where they're not offending their neighbors or when they're not getting tickets, or the police department can make its way over because it gets a phone call and it can get a hold of somebody and say, hey, better shut it down.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea of that registration program.
And so I had some confusion this year with our shutting down. We expected an officer to show up, which is why we got that notification and then did not. We didn't see an officer after those 20 minutes, which we were expecting to, and I think is part of the confusion. Again, that's a mistake on our behalf,
okay,
which we apologize for. But yeah, we give out our number to all of our neighbors so that they can avoid texting or calling the police and text us instead, because we're happy to accommodate. But again, I think there was a bit of a misunderstanding on our behalf and a bit of special circumstances with the changing registration systems that I think kind of contributed. And obviously we will never have this issue again in the future, but I just want to bring that to attention.
Okay.
Of the board.
All right. I think you did a good job articulating it. I'm going to take a look at the report. So the notes say that you were given a warning to shut down the registered party. Did you see that on the back of the office?
Yes, we did. And that's what I mentioned before is there obviously confusion on our behalf, and we did clear it up with the officers.
So that was a phone call notice?
That was a text notification. And so we did actively shut down our party, stop letting people in. And I myself and Thor, who is the the person who registered the party, sat up front, and we did expect to get a visit from the officers in 20 minutes. Having not seen that visit, we made the mistake of continuing. And again, obviously that is our problem, but we expected to see the officer, and that was one thing that we thought we'd have an opportunity to discuss with the officer before we got ticketed.
Okay. Okay, so now you know.
Yes, yeah, no, learned a lot.
Okay. All right. And the other thing I want to do is just see if I imagine that Mr. Altenberg may have already done this, but I wanted to see if Alpha Delta Phi has had any priors with our court. So that's something that I also consider. It looks like you have not. That's this case today. Okay. All right, so I am going to impose the large amount of the fine. I'm going to suspend just a little more, but not a lot more, but a little bit more than was actually recommended. And that is a deviation from what we normally do. But you've done a good job of articulating kind of where things slip through the cracks. So the fine is $2,650. I'm going to suspend $1,800 of that fine. So you'll still have $850 in fine to pay. There'll be a probation fee, which is a $50 probation fee, and then you'll have $30 in court costs. The other conditions I am going to impose the community service. So you'll have 75 hours of community service, which can be done by the entire group. I want you to have a good conversation with probation today about how that works, because that has changed from, and if you haven't actually been here, maybe it won't be something that's new to you, but you'll still probably go through Slice on campus, but they may not allow an individual to be 2-4, and they may not allow you to just choose what entity you want to do community service with. So I want you to be thoughtful about that. Make sure you give yourself plenty of time to get the community service done, get started right away on that. And if you have questions, you'll be able to talk to probation about that. You'll be on probation for a period of time. And I want to remind myself of what we normally do for probation, because I've forgotten. I think it's 12 months, 9 months. So it'd be for a 9-month term of probation. We'll also expect the executive board to complete the Restorative Justice program and have the executive board complete the community living class. And are all members of the executive board here today, or just?
We just have 2 of us.
Okay.
Myself and our risk manager.
Okay, so you'll have to make sure you communicate that to others. This is where things kind of get tricky. As we get this time of year, we're almost to October. I know there'll be a changeover in leadership in November or December, right? Is that for the case for you guys as well? So what I would hope you'll do is, if you can, get everything done before there's a change of leadership. If you cannot, make sure that you do a good job of notifying the new leadership of what the obligations are. That's where I see things fall through the cracks of the most. And the other thing is when there's a change of leadership and a new group of, you get a new group of folks who are joining your fraternity who haven't been used to this, we have another party and we end up with another charge, and all of a sudden it's like, this is the second time we've seen this organization. So you have to do a really good job in that transition of prioritizing that conversation with the entire board, the entire fraternity, so everybody knows it, what the circumstances could be if you get another charge. So all of that I think you'll do, but I just wanted to remind you to make sure you take care of that. But I'll put a note here on Mr. Lundstedt's case. Your case is now going to be dismissed, the individual case, as part of the plea agreement. And that'll be done. Nick, you don't have to do anything on that. That'll be done by motion. Does anybody have any questions for me?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so I'm going to send you back to meet with probation. She's going to go over all this with you. Have questions, she'll be your contact person. She's going to be the one that you want to make sure you get proof that you've done the community service to, so that she can show that you're in compliance.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right, and I didn't ask, but I should ask. It leaves you with, looks like $930 to pay. Are you going to be able to pay that today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Right to the back. Thanks for being so responsible getting here, gentlemen. We'll see you.
Your Honor, I'm just trying to go through. You said,
Well, that took a turn. Watching in this docket was like watching someone run a courtroom that doubled as a classroom, firm, patient, and always teaching as much as ruling. The morning opened with charged with animal neglect. Cahn carefully explained his deferred judgment options: plead guilty to improper care, take a responsible pet ownership class, complete 8 hours of service, and pay $190 in fees. After 9 months, if he stayed clean, the case would be dismissed and sealed. Nissenchuk accepted, answering Cahn's checklist of rights clearly, and left knowing exactly what to expect. It was accountability with a roadmap to redemption, entity, PL care, and disposal violations. Unlike Nissenchuk, Bonner wasn't ready to plead. He wanted more time and discovery. Cahn didn't force the issue. He granted a continuance, reminded him he could still file a written motion to dismiss, and explained Zoom options for the next appearance. It was structured flexibility, giving Bonner both space and clarity. The doc led to community court cases. Entity people, Miss G, had already started working with a navigator. That effort earned her an outright dismissal. Cahn congratulated her, explained how to get a copy of the order, and freed her from further appearances. It was a clean example of his preference for problem solving over punishment when people engage with support programs. Later, 3 young people, Asher Ballon, 111 Pong, and fake ID charges. Each was offered a 9-month deferred judgment with conditions like CU's Restorative Justice program, a community living class, service hours, and substance use screenings. Cahn walked each through the rights they were giving up, confirmed their pleas were voluntary, and emphasized that one slip would turn the deal into a permanent conviction. Then, in a broader aside, he reminded all 3 not to take this leniency for granted. A second offense will have a much different response. It was part sentencing, part life lesson. Finally, Cahn handled Entity King 1, who wanted to public defender help. Instead of rushing, Cahn set his case for the October public defender docket, explained how new summonses could overlap with that date, and praised King for earning a job promotion. The exchange was pragmatic and encouraging, the kind of balance Cahn carries throughout. The standout of the day, though, was the R Entity People Alpha Delta Phi 1, represented by Entity of People ILTI as an organization, agreeing to $850 in fines after suspension, 75 hours of service, and classes for its executive board. Cahn heard their explanation about confusion in CU's party registration system and acknowledged their otherwise clean record, slightly lowering the fine. But he warned them about leadership transitions and stressed that another violation would be treated much harsher. It was a mix of leniency and foresight, aiming to prevent repeat problems. What tied the docket together was Cahn's steady mix of education. He explained deferred judgments in plain English, praised small steps toward stability, and wasn't afraid to deliver cautionary lectures about second chances. His courtroom ran not just on rulings, but on reminders that every choice carries consequences, legal, personal, and long-term. If you found this hearing insightful, consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and letting me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one.